This is when they start moving towards, we should probably like have some better infrastructure. We should like do some stonework here.
Infrastructure week.
I was about to say that.
Welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own table. I'm Ryan. This week in our campaign sessions, we discovered a world-ending, campaign-ending artifact. We were level 3. DM said that we would have ended the campaign there if we touched it.
I mean, you wouldn't have been like dead. It just would have gone in a very different direction.
I feel like we probably would have been dead. We would have been functionally dead.
It was great to just look the item up and be like, that's level 15? What? Yeah, and I'm Tyler, and this week I conned a new person into playing D&D. I ran a session, and one of my players' friends was over, and we had talked the day before, and I'm like, we should get Danny to play. And then she came expecting to work on some work stuff, and I'm like, hey, Danny, I built you a character. So she was a barbarian who had fun just bashing some things.
That's a good surprise character. Just like, here's your character sheet, roll a d20. You hit things.
I gave her a d20 and a d12, and I'm like, these are the two things you care about.
That's a good play.
That's all you want. So, yeah, that was good.
So I'm Sam, and in that same session, my character, Nico, decided that this barbarian was the love of his life. Seeing her from afar and watching her hit things, he was like, amazing. But then she got into a kerfuffle with a worm creature, and she was covered in worms, and then he was like, this isn't sexy anymore. I don't think I'm into it.
I think the best part about that, though, or just that whole situation, was I had Danny come in, and she wasn't in the last session, obviously, and then Sam wasn't there for the last session, so I'm like, you see this man who is very, like, long blonde hair, ripped, shirt open, and Sam's like, hello. And Danny's like, wait, is that you?
And I was like, madam, you seem lost.
Yes. So Sam is the sexy himbo of that campaign.
Well, you nailed it, apparently.
Yeah.
Good work.
There you go.
I love him. He's so dumb.
Perfect.
All right. So today we are venturing into Varisia, which is also known as the Wild Frontier. So I just want you all to like take a moment and think about like frontier and like adventure and scenic vistas and maybe some buffalo roaming.
So like
cowboys?
Yeah, like cowboys out west?
A little bit. Or like that sense of adventure.
Okay.
It might not look exactly like Montana, but the feeling that Montana might evoke if you were a person who liked that.
The sense of the adventure of being in a saloon and somebody might come in and start a gunfight for no reason.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I like that energy, Tyler.
All right, I'm in the mentality. Okay,
yes,
I'm ready.
All right, so that is where we are headed, to Varisia.
And Varisia is north of where we were?
Yes, so we are headed north. We are in the area that is north of Nightall, and it's a very large area. So we are bordered by the Mindspan Mountains to the east, and then to the north you have Irison. Like, you're getting really close to the top of the world here. So
this is the Saga Lands, right?
Correct. It is the Saga Lands. So yes, we have this large swath of land.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about it as a whole, but we're also going to talk about it in parts because it's so large that its histories evolve a little bit differently depending on where you are.
In the same kind of in the same nation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's going to be like different little paths that are going to branch and break off, but we end up with some really distinct cultures in this country, which I thought was super fun to learn all about. So the history of Varisia actually starts with Thassalon. So Thassalon we can picture as kind of like our Roman Empire in this part of the world. Yeah, it's going to be like that civilization that is doing the most and has all of the things and is fabulously wealthy and powerful. And Thassalon is ruled by rune lords, who are these very powerful wizards.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Right? I mean, who doesn't love a powerful wizard? The downside to the powerful wizards is they're all connected to the magic of one of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh. I mean, was that... Okay, sure. That's a weird way to like set up like your committee. We're each gonna pick a sin.
There's
guys.
7 of us. What things have 7? The sins? Let's go with that.
We'll go sins.
Yeah.
I'm like, some of them would be cooler, I guess. Like, I'm the Lord of Pride. Like, all right, fair. But like, I really wouldn't want to be like Gluttony. That just seems rough.
Yeah, definitely some rougher ones there.
Does the Rune Lord of Sloth just never show up to the meetings?
He's always napping.
He's gone again.
So we're not going to get too deep into the Rune Lords, but as you can imagine, with your magic tied up in the 7 deadly sins, there's a lot of like corruption and decadence in Thassalon. So the Empire as a whole is already starting to kind of crack under the weight of all of this.
Yeah, okay.
When Earthfall happens.
Oh.
Our good buddy Meteor.
Oh.
Yes.
Friend of the pod, Meteor.
Friend of the pod, Meteor.
So this really doesn't help Thassalon. It's already kind of in this, like, we're not like holding it together super great. So Earthfall breaks it apart.
Okay.
So you have this fabulous empire that used to be here. You have Earthfall, and then it's gone. So now we just have a country that is full of the ruins of a previous civilization.
Great.
And not a lot happens here of significance for a while. So after Earthfall, the region is really only populated by native Varisians, who are more of a nomadic people that kind of wander the land, and the Shoanti, which are the like native tribal people that also live here. So they're gonna like live in clans and have more of like a full tie. So it's really just those 2 groups of fairly nomadic people in the wilderness.
And so was Varisia is the name it ended up getting? So
yeah, so at this time it doesn't have a name. It's just wilderness. So we'll talk about how we get to
Ruins of Thassalon.
The ruins once named Thassalon, or the ruins formerly known as Thassalon.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So nothing really happens historically in this area until 4405.
So that's like 9,000 years?
Oh, yeah.
Because Earthfall's what, minus 52 something?
Yeah, so a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so nothing's really happening here up until Cheliax decides we should explore. It's not Taldor this time.
I mean,
yay.
It's kind of Taldor. I guess it's Cheliax.
Huzzah.
Oh, gosh.
Progress.
So Cheliax as a country decides we're going to march on this wilderness land and we're going to lay some claim.
Right, because no one lives there, right?
Sure, yes.
Yeah, it's completely, we don't know about it, so there can't be anybody living
it's not
there.
it's not marked on the map, so clearly no one lives there.
So this decision is made by Halleck IV, the Emperor of Cheliax. He's going to charge Field Marshal Corvosa with founding this colony in the untamed frontier. Now, of course, we can't have a good story without having a rival, right?
Of course.
So, of course, Field Marshal Corvosa's longtime rival, because, like, we love a stewing situation here, is Admiral Kiamelu, and he is going to petition the Emperor and say, hey, I also want to do that. And the Emperor's like, cool, 2 dudes to, like, try to, like, do my job. Like, somebody's got to succeed.
Yeah, kind of pitting them against each other. Like, oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
Hedging his
go for
bets.
it, guys.
Yeah, okay.
So if you know anything about Varisia, you might have guessed who comes out on top in this race to form a colony.
The town of Kiamelu.
It is Field Marshal Corvosa.
Well,
because they found a city called Corvosa. So there are settlements. Kiamelu also founds a settlement, his does not fare as well,
Sure.
historically.
Sure.
So Korvosa is going to be our first really area of civilization here in Varisia. It is founded in 4407, so it takes them 2 years to kind of get into the country, to figure out where they're going to be. It's founded as like a frontier outpost.
Pretty quick.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they're
All
able to
things
at
considered.
least lay some ground. It's going to look a little bit different in modern day, but we'll get there. So as Cheliax is entering the country, they are driving the Shoanti north and out of their territorial lands. The big problem with this is this area where Korvosa is, where they are choosing to colonize, is an area that includes a sacred Shoanti pyramid.
Great.
Oh.
It's bad. It's bad.
Great.
It wouldn't be good exploring if you didn't take over some holy land.
To desecrate some sacred grounds.
Yes. Ugh.
So needless to say, the Shoanti are not happy with this. And to give a little bit of background to the Shoanti and kind of help inform what their actions look like from here. So they've been here for 10,000 years.
Dang.
Oh, man.
So they've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
They were enslaved by the Rune Lords. So we already kind of had an issue with power imbalance
Sure.
historically for them. But they survive the Age of Darkness. And then after Earthfall are able to continue to live here. And they're able to get along with those other nomadic native Varisians.
Okay.
Nice.
So the conflict that they then have with Cheliax as they come in, this is going to last until 4488. They are going to
Oh, man.
continue to fight with Cheliax for their land, which admirable effort, but unfortunately they eventually do lose.
Boo,
And then they
Cheliax.
are driven farther north into Varisia, which is where their lands are now.
It's like 80 years of conflict. Okay.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
It is, yeah. And we'll talk
Multiple
about
generations of
some of the
conflict.
specifics of what they do and some of the actions
Okay.
that are going to impact Varisia and Korvosa moving forward. Interestingly, the Cheliax people in Korvosa are able to find more neutral ground with the other group of native Varisians under the premise of, we're bringing you culture and civilization.
Yeah. Yep.
Do we have like colonizer bingo? We've checked off a lot of boxes.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah. So this time period when they're building Fort Korvosa, when they're coming in, this is when the land becomes known as Varisia.
Okay.
So it's because Cheliax has come in here and they're like, well, we got to call it something.
Do we know why they called it Varisia at all?
I couldn't find that. And I could only find like one mention of Varisia getting its name in this time period. So if anybody knows why, I would
Interesting.
love
Okay.
to know. I read
Private
like 5
Varisia.
books.
It sounded cool,
Was-
so we named it Varisia.
Guys,
I
I
Could
like
not find anyone
these.
with that name.
Looks on the map. There's no other countries of these, are there?
So Fort Korvosa exists. It's this outpost. We've got some people from Cheliax. They're here. They're making a foothold in this country. A few years pass. In 4423, this is the first time that delegates from Yanderhof show up. And Yanderhof is one of the Dwarven sky citadels.
Ooh.
And it's located nearby in this southern part of Varisia. And they're going to play a role in trade.
I love when the
with
dwarves come back.
Korvosa.
Yes.
Dwarves.
Yes, the dwarves are great. So they're going to start forming those connections with Yanderhof at this time. In 4429, we hit one of our first major issues. There's a great fire
Oh no.
in Korvosa. Leaders die. About a fourth of the population dies.
Oh dang.
And the fire was set by the Shoanti.
Oh.
Can I root for the fire?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think I'm team fire.
Yeah, so this is going to be one of those events where the Shoanti are fighting back and are not necessarily successful in driving the Korvosans out, but they definitely are making an impact.
Sure. Well, you're making Cheliax earn it.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
like, look, if you're going to like come in here, we're going to make you work hard.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about the fire, though, is that it's foreseen by a seer of Pharasma named Aquila. So Aquila foresees the fire, and she also foresees her own death in the fire,
Aw.
which is a bit of a downer. But she still tells people. So Korvosa is able to not totally fall apart in this. And presumably she saved a significant amount of life by being able to predict that this was going to happen. Interestingly, she posthumously becomes a saint.
Nice.
Cheliax also makes her the first native Varisian to have Chelish citizenship. So they martyr her, and they're like, cool, you are now officially Chelish.
This is still Cheliax pre-Devils, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not evil, but they're...
I mean, still not great colonizers.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming over here and colonizing. Weird that they... Okay, so like saints. I don't know if we've had any saints up to this point. Interesting.
Yeah, so they murder her. She gets to be a citizen, but she's also dead, so, you know.
Awkward.
Huh. Okay.
But yeah, so she's a great kind of legend in folklore.
Okay,
Nice.
cool.
Here
That's
in Korvosa. So since we had that big fire, all the buildings are wood.
Yep.
This is when they start moving towards, we should probably like have some better infrastructure. We should like do some stone work here.
Infrastructure week.
I was about to say that.
So in the 4430s, they're really working on fortifying what is still known as Fort Korvosa at this point to hopefully withstand some of these issues. They're going to continue to be a settlement. They're going to keep chugging along out here in the frontier. In 4504, so about 70 years later, they officially drop the fort from the name and it just becomes Korvosa.
Okay.
And then about 30 years after that, we're going to officially establish trade routes with Yanderhof. And Yanderhof is going to be really important with the dwarves because Korvosa has horrible relations with the Shoanti and the people in Varisia, so nobody else wants to trade with them.
Why?
I can't imagine.
What could they have possibly done?
I found all these valuable materials on your land. Would you like to buy them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the dwarves of Yanderhof end up becoming a bit of a mediator between some of these populations because they're neutral. And that helps Korvosa because then they do actually have trade. They are able to get goods. It's going to really help them continue to grow.
Okay.
Nice.
Where we hit our next major bump in the road is 4606 when Erodin dies.
We need t-shirts that say 4606.
4606 t-shirts.
The day the friend of the pod died.
I think you just leave it at 4606.
4606.
And it's like only like 1 in a million people actually knows what that is. That'd be a good...
We can design those t-shirts.
I mean, there's not a lot of design in putting 4 numbers on a t-shirt.
But it's stylistic.
Okay, fair enough.
4606 t-shirts. Coming soon to you.
I like it.
Is it?
I don't know.
Look, Tyler's mom has a Cricut, okay? She can make us shirts.
That's true. She could make us shirts.
Maybe just make us 3 shirts.
Mom, we have a podcast. Can you make us t-shirts?
Also,
we need swag.
All right, I'm in.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, Erodin did. Awkward. So this event obviously has huge impacts for everybody, but more specifically, it leads into some events that result into our next territory that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
So we can call each of these areas city-states as they are. So Korvosa is going to be that first city-state, and it's currently present day the largest that we have. The next one we're going to shift to look at is Magnamar.
I like that name.
It's a very cool name.
It's like the Pokemon.
So Magnamar is located on the western shore of Varisia, on the south end of what is known as the Lost Coast.
Okay.
Which also sounds very cool. It is on the southern end of the Varisian Gulf, and then there's some like barrier islands that kind of encompass the Gulf. So it's situated at the mouth of a river. It's a really good location. So how we end up here is we have some disenchanted citizens in Korvosa. I can't imagine why.
Oh boy.
So Magnamar historically has been a waypoint for traveling Varisian caravans. So it's been a point of trade and small commerce in the country, but when it becomes something bigger and when we're moving into what we are today, this is 4584 is when we first have some of our discontented Corvosan expats
Okay.
thinking about like, where else can we go? They're a little tired of all of the institutions of what is not so fondly known as little Cheliacs.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
That's
yeah.
fair.
So they're going to start moving out. And where can we go? And where they're going to land is what will become the city of Magnamar. This area, legends have long recorded it as a place that's a blessed resting spot for celestial messengers.
Ooh.
So often people who would visit here, so people that are wandering in, some of those caravans, they visit in hopes of seeing an angel.
Oh,
And
nice.
gaining good fortune that
Okay.
comes along with that. So we can kind of, see how a group of people who's really unhappy with where they are, like, oh, where's a place we could go? This place where you might
Sure.
get good fortune and see angels. Like, this seems like a better option.
yeah, strong
Nice.
Desmond vibes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interestingly, the group that kind of sets out here and is leading this exodus, they are called the Wardens of the Eye. And they are led by a paladin of Eredin.
Oh.
So Eredin's symbol is the eye.
Yeah.
So that's how we get that. Interestingly, their leader, this paladin in 4606, has a bit of crisis of the faith.
Makes sense.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So they've kind
wonder
of
why.
set out personal crisis. He does get it together though, and ends up in 4608 leading thousands out of Corvosa.
Okay.
So they're able to kind of get it together. They rally and they're like, we're peacing out with a lot of people head to Magnamar.
Sure.
Now, as we can imagine, as we've had before, we have a bunch of people moving into a space that is already inhabited
I mean, no one lives there,
by
right?
other people. So how do the Corvosan expats and the native Varisians get along?
Hopefully.
Guesses?
I mean, they're led by like probably a good dude paladin. I feel like they're not going to be.
Well,
Yeah, they probably do okay.
I feel like especially if they're trying to get away from their little Cheliacs, they might do something different than little Cheliacs,
They're
or
probably
do the
They're
exact
not going to like plant a flag and be like, "Hello, this is second little Cheliacs."
littler Cheliacs.
They're
Baby
definitely not
Cheliacs.
as bad
Okay.
as Corvosa. So what happens? The settlers begin moving into Magnamar. The Varisians that are already there are like, hey guys, could you move the houses that you just built because you built them on holy grounds?
Like I said, sometimes you just desecrate a holy site.
That's the way.
So
So
to go.
happens.
unfortunately, most of the leaders are like, psh, we just spent all this work to build these houses. No, we're not going to move. Except for one, Mistress Ordelia Wilrin,
Wilrin.
who
Okay.
is a member of the Wardens of the Eye. So she's one of these people that kind of started this expedition. She
Okay.
says, you know what? We will happily move if you can show me an angel.
I mean, that could go either way, though, right? That could be like, I truly believe my because her god is dead at this point, right?
So she wasn't
Only the leader of the Wardens of the Eye.
yeah, he was a paladin
okay.
of Eredin. She was not affiliated
Oh,
with,
okay.
with Eredin.
So still like, hey, if you show me a sign from God, I will move. That could be a little.
Yeah, that could
go
go either way.
What the Varisians do is they tell her to look out at the sea cleft spire at dawn every day for a week. And this is a spire that's in Magnamar and very high point,
Sure.
middle of the city. And she's like, okay. So she does. And on the final day, she sees a radiant figure perched atop the spire
Huh.
as the sun is coming up.
Nice.
Bluff called.
So
There you
she's like, whoo, inspire. All right, I'll keep my promise. And everybody moves south of the river. And so they end up calling that district of Magnamar Ordelia
Oh,
in her honor.
Nice.
okay, that worked out.
Okay.
That worked okay.
Yeah. So 2 years after that, there is a huge storm. And Ordelia is going to be a focus of this story again. So through the storm, she is praying to the angel that
Yeah.
she saw on the spire. She's like, look, I am a believer.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So she's praying, and then amazingly, there is a blinding flash of soundless lightning, and it hits the spire, blasts the spire apart, but in doing so scatters all the storm clouds to reveal starry skies.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Two miracles?
I know. So, well, and for the first one, some people were like, whatever, that was just some dude dressed up standing on a spire.
Right.
But no one's really arguing this one.
Did you see the mountain explode and also not hear the mountain explode? Yeah. Okay.
So because of this, because all of the people now knew she was praying, saw the silent lightning blast, they all kind of come together and agree that they're going to create a tower to replace the fallen spire. As they're building this and they're laying the stones, everyone is now kind of sharing that same faith, and the tower ends up taking 18 years to build.
Oh, man.
It's huge. It's called Arvansor, but it is now a symbol of the Magnamarian Varisian unity, and it also serves as an open invitation to goodly spirits.
Nice.
That worked out okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Magnamar.
Yeah, Magnamar did a
I'd
good
move
job.
there too.
Yeah.
Magnamar's fairly legit. So that's the most recent history for Magnamar. They don't have any like significant events from there. As a city, though, they end up being more welcoming
Sure.
of people. So Corvosa is fairly racist against the Shoantian native peoples. However, Magnamar doesn't really have those types of considerations. They're a little bit more of like a we welcome everybody.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're still in the frontier, so it's not necessarily like super safe all the time, but you're not going to like get turned away if you look different. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. Good job, Magnamar.
So that's city-state number 2. City-state number 3 is Riddleport. So this is current day the third largest of these city-states.
Riddleport.
I like you have like Varisia, Magnamar, Riddleport.
Well, if you want a fancy name, Riddleport is also known as the City of Ciphers.
Ooh.
Okay, that's cool.
Hacker City.
Magical ciphers. So Riddleport started as a secret pirate haven.
Even cooler.
And it's on the northern end of the Lost Coast. So Magnamar's on that south end. Riddleport's going to be on the north end. It's the northernmost outpost. It's not exactly a nice town.
I mean, what pirate town is like on prime real estate? Let's be honest.
So it's in an area where it's either cold and misty, or if it happens to be summer, it's super humid and muddy.
Well,
it doesn't have a sewer system, just gutters.
That's unfortunate.
So certain times of the year, it's fine. Other times of the year, it's a little rough. So its history as Riddleport starts in 4558 when the first pirate lord takes over. So it becomes more of a unified area rather than just like a bunch of pirates running around.
Okay, sure.
They name this government seat the Overlord of Riddleport.
Love it.
And as you can imagine with a bunch of pirates, leadership changes as people murder each other.
Checks out.
So change in hands, somebody's off in the next guy. So it's really unstable for a while. Up until 4680, when Gaston Cromarty takes over.
That's an incredibly good name.
Just really like his name, Gaston. So he takes over as overlord in the traditional way that he kills his predecessor. But he does a lot of work to stabilize things because, smart for him, instead of relying on the support of pirate lords, which is very crucial and changes all the time, right?
Yeah.
He decides, I'm just going to hire mercenaries and enforcers and build a military.
They pulled a Druma.
Yeah, they pulled a Druma.
Yeah, and he hires people that don't have a connection to piracy. So he calls this force the gendarmes.
Yes.
Or gentlemen at arms.
Nice.
Love it.
I like it.
And he is still in power in current day. So he has...
Okay,
so I believe it's been 43
years?
Yeah.
43 years?
The reign of Gaston.
The reign of Gaston.
Yeah. So he's done a lot of work to stabilize Riddleport and, make it it's still a pirate shantytown, but there aren't as many like gang warfare situations going on. There's not as many like feuding pirate people because it's enforced by a military that's not affiliated with those
It
things.
feels like the kind of place where it's like you wouldn't go with a family, but maybe it's like we're young and on spring break. Like let's go check out Riddleport and see what trouble we can get into.
And then you get all your money taken from you in a bar.
Yeah, of course.
But yes, it's that vibe. So the interesting thing about Riddleport and why it is called the City of Ciphers, the entrance to the harbor is straddled by a great stone arch that's decorated with mysterious runes. And we call this the Cipher Gate.
Ooh.
Mysterious.
Ooh.
It's generally assumed to be something from the Thessalonians. So this is one of those, oops, it's a ruin. And we're not totally sure what it did before.
Sure.
But it looks really cool.
Nice.
And what this has given rise to is a group of people called the Cipher Mages.
Oh my gosh.
And they have dedicated themselves to the study of secrets of Varisia's monuments.
I want to be a cipher mage.
Man, all we have are archaeologists, and they're like, Cipher Mage.
Oh, they should rebrand.
Yeah.
Cipher Mage is a way better name for a profession. Sorry, any archaeologists who listen to the podcast. Cipher Mage is a way better name.
Your job is
It's very
cool. Your
cool.
name could be cooler.
So there is an adventure path that does find out what the Cipher Gate was for. I'm not going to spoil it. But the Cipher Mages have been successful in figuring out some of these secrets
Oh, okay.
of
Okay.
Varisia. So present day, we have those 3 major city-states. Riddleport is going to stay that pirate town that it has been. Not a lot of change there. Magnamar, open and accepting people. It's thriving. Corvosa is still considered an imperial colony of Cheliax.
Really?
Yes. And as a city-state, it has a monarchy, but it also has powerful noble houses. And neither one of them can quite get rid of the other one.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a lot of power struggles in Corvosa still. They have some military there, though. This is where you're going to find, like, the Order of the Nail is in Corvosa.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they're functioning kind of on their own. They're still, feeding into Cheliax.
Right.
Whereas our other city-states are completely independent. And then in the country as a whole, we still have the Shoanti clans are still out in the wilderness, and we still have some of our roaming Varisian troops popping around there. But those are the major places that we could go in Varisia.
Okay.
Nice. I like it.
Nice.
And I had to use like 6 books to gather all of that information because we can't talk about all of those places in one place. So I did a lot of reading, I learned a lot of things, and I cut a lot out. But there's a lot of other very cool places in Varisia too. So I highly encourage everyone to do some more reading and see what else you find.
What are the books?
So I used Varisia, Birthplace of Legends, I used Magnamar, City of Monuments, I used Guide to Corvosa, and I used Second Darkness, which is the one that talks about Riddleport.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
But there are cities that we didn't go to that have their own guides, and there's more things out there too.
It kind of just seems like I knew like nothing about Varisia really.
Same.
It seems kind of like a little bit of taste for everybody, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah. It seems like a really great spot for adventurers. So
Sure.
I like really want to like run a campaign here now. This is my problem. Every time we talk about something, I'm like, I want to run a campaign there.
Well, that's a possibly excellent segue.
Yes.
So I think we will put a pin in that for just a moment and go to break for a second. When we come back, we'll talk characters and campaigns.
All across Varisia, the echoes of a forgotten time rise up. From the bridge of Irespan to the black tower of Jorgenfist to the Emerald Chambers, history beckons. Do you hear the call? Do you dream of lost magic and the mysteries of the Rune Lords? Do you desperately seek knowledge, arcane and historical? Do you believe that the present only moves forward when propelled by the past? Then join the Order of the Cipher. The Cipher Mages make their home in the shadow of the Cipher Gate in Riddleport, and there is always room for another who seeks the knowledge. Don't delay, hear the call, and answer it.
Welcome back, everyone. So like Sam said, we're going to talk a little bit about campaigns and characters.
Heck yeah.
Woo!
So I will go first. I kind of struggled a little bit at first because we try not to like super go in depth and like learn a ton. So we can learn as we go.
And I feel like it's harder because this area I know really not a lot about, so it's hard to...
Yes. So I may have taken a slight peek at Sam's notes when she was looking at them, and all I saw was Riddleport and pirates, and I was like, I'm in.
Cool.
We're gonna do something in Riddleport. So this is a campaign, probably like a short run. I don't think this goes more than like 5 to 10 sessions ish. Like maybe all the characters die. We'll see. But low level, short run, dangerous. So the backstory I kind of came up with is, for some reason or another, the players are working alongside or in the gas forges of Riddleport, which is like this area in Riddleport. There's this special gas, carboxene, which is really good for smelting like adamantine and mithril and like all the really hard metals.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, you're like out looking for metals or you're out looking for gas underneath or near the city of Riddleport. And of course, a super cinematically convenient event occurs, like an earthquake or like a chasm opens up.
Yeah.
Something fun.
Something fun happens and you fall into this old ruin.
Okay.
Ooh.
And when you kind of come to, you realize, oh, we've fallen into like an old pirate gold stash where they stashed all their treasure. So you like wake up in the treasure room.
Ooh.
Oh, this is great.
Yes, you're like, you are rich beyond your wildest dreams.
Nice.
The problem is you have to figure out how to get out.
Okay.
And so the gold room, the pirates were smart and they stashed the gold inside an old Thessalonian temple.
Oh boy.
So you need to like escape backwards out of the Thessalonian temple, out through the nearby caves and pirate traps, hopefully alive, maybe with your gold.
Okay.
And so, we want to keep it low level. Like, I don't want anyone teleporting out.
So this might be a good, like, 1 or 2 shot, like a nice kind of just couple session campaign as a ramp up.
Yeah.
It feels very like Indiana Jones to me.
Yes. Like just like your standard adventures and like rolling boulders and snake traps.
Nice.
And, real gritty stuff.
Reverse dungeon crawl,
right. I did like the idea of maybe being really harsh on survival rules to make the players, like you would have fallen in here without food probably, or like maybe a short amount of food.
Ooh.
So maybe playing some games with like the fatigue rules, or like if you are injured walking around, like you take permanent damage versus healable damage, and really ramp up the threat level and really make the characters quake.
Oh, I like it. So much danger.
I like it. Oh my gosh. So my character, this is going to be fun. Okay, so my character works out because my character is also from Riddleport.
Perfect.
His name is Mr. B.
Okay.
And it's kind of a moniker. And he's known around Riddleport as kind of a ne'er-do-well. People have stories about being roughed up by Mr. B, and
what does the B stand for,
we'll get
Tyler?
there.
Oh gosh.
So he might be wanted. Descriptions are vague. It's hard to
so cagey.
Yeah. But it's like Mr. B is wanted. Like that's the name of the person. So my guy, I did the random generator that we usually use. So I rolled a neutral evil barbarian.
Ooh, okay.
And so Mr. B is a neutral evil barbarian.
Is the B for barbarian?
No.
Oh,
the twist.
The twist.
The twist is I rolled a rare ancestry. So he is a stuffed bear puppet.
What?
He is
incredible.
Mr. Bear.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
He
the
is
terror of the night.
He is the stuffed toy of a kid who is probably like a scamp in Riddleport, runs around in the slums, and has his little stuffed bear that at one point, I don't know if he gets roughed up by other kids or any number of things can happen to a kid in Riddleport. So he wishes his bear alive.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well this is kind of adorable now.
And so Mr.
Until
Bear,
it goes wrong.
Mr. Bear is a wished alive stuffed bear. He literally is just a bear.
Oh my gosh.
He is an animal instinct barbarian, so obviously bear. So he basically is kind of this kid's defender, But because he's neutral evil, he just kind of doesn't care. Like, goes out to provide for this kid by, like, murdering people and, like, stealing their money.
A children's book gone very, very wrong.
This is literally like Calvin and Hobbes if, like, Hobbes was partially a psychopath.
Yeah. He's like, all of the protector, none of the morality. So he just does what he can.
That sounds
Right.
right.
Thank you for bringing back bread tonight, Mr. B.
I imagine he, like, doesn't tell his owner, like, where he gets the stuff. He's like, I've just provided. Here you go. And the kid's like, thanks, Mr. Bear.
Aww.
Why are your hands dripping in blood, Mr. Bear?
Oh, no.
The hilarious part is, as a barbarian, he's got a jaw attack. And
I was just attacked by a stuffed animal.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
That's why
that's a nightmare.
That's why descriptions are so vague, because no one wants to admit they just got beat up and mugged by a tiny stuffed bear. My favorite feat of his is bashing charge, where basically you can charge through doors and stuff. So I just imagine a stuffed bear kicking down a door.
He's the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, literally the Kool-Aid man if he's a bear. So I imagine he probably made his way into the bag of a adventurer in this case, or like he has the harmless doll feat, so he can fake being just a regular stuffed animal. So I imagine he kind of sneaks his way into people's bags and then, like, mugs them later. Yeah,
boy.
I imagine he probably got into this by sneaking into somebody's bag, and then that's the person that fell in.
Oh
like
my gosh.
He wasn't part of the party that was.
Sure.
He's just kind of shows up. So, yeah, but I imagine
Plot
he would.
twist.
Yeah.
Mr. B causes the cave-in.
Ooh.
That'd be kind of interesting.
It's literally like that's part of your plan to like get back at one of the people, but it goes wrong, right?
Ooh, that could be good.
So does Mr. B have to eat?
I don't think so.
So then he would
Dang
be
it.
great in this dungeon.
Yeah. As a puppet, I don't think he has to breathe or eat, and he doesn't take falling damage because he's a stuffed
Just
puppet.
gonna
So he
float
just
Oh my
down.
gosh, everyone else is going to die and Mr. B is going to survive.
he's 3 days later, this stuffed bear just crawls out with a bag of loot and a bunch of dead
This
bodies.
is how treasure guardians are made. Like
I'm kind of
hundreds
rooting for him.
Hundreds of years from now, someone's gonna find this treasure stash with like a little bear stuffed animal just sitting on top of the gold chest and skeletons strewn everywhere.
I just imagine him in combat is like watching the rabbit in Monty Python and the
Yes.
Holy Grail, where he's just like flying around, just attacking things. So yeah, that is the Legend of Mr. B.
Amazing.
That was incredible. That fits perfectly, Tyler.
I'm so excited.
Perfect. Well, so we have Mr. B hanging out in Riddleport.
Mm-hmm.
That all being said, let's assume for ranking purposes, you're not going to run into Mr. B. So I feel like that would drop our ranking if you could guarantee a rough up from a stuffed animal.
I mean, maybe you're into that. We don't know.
It's like
Maybe you're into that.
or that would be like an attraction, like the old timey wrestle bears. And it's a stuffed animal, and then you just get lit up by a stuffed animal bear.
Oh my gosh, that'd
I
be so
paid
good.
5 gold for this.
The pirates would be into that too, is the thing.
would be.
You know, they would like totally egg each other on and be like, you go fight the bear. You go fight the bear.
Yeah,
Perfect.
cool. So are we going as Varisia as a whole, or like Riddleport as all three? Like Riddleport and
You
Myanmar?
could also we could go by each city-state if you wanted, since there's 3 of them.
We could rank all 3.
Yeah, okay, let's start.
So Corvosa.
Corvosa. What's the ranking?
1 to
on
5
this
little Cheliaxes.
1 to 5 little.
1 to 5 minor explorations.
So here, I'm going to give a slight spoiler. We're going to do 1 to 5 curses.
Oh,
Because the thing we did not talk about for Corvosa is the adventure path Curse of the Crimson Throne.
Oh.
They have an issue with their monarchs dying without heirs.
okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
1 to 5 curses. I like it.
1 to 5. They feel like a 3.
Yeah, it feels pretty neutral to me. Like,
Yeah.
unless you're Shawanti, but
Yeah, like you could probably visit and be okay and, see some cool stuff. But in general, probably don't want to live there.
yeah, I'd say 3.
Yeah, I'd also give it a 3. I think it's got a little bit too much of the Chelish structure
Yes.
for me to want to stay there for a long period of
Especially
time.
if they still consider themselves Chelish, that's like a big turnoff for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Magnamar.
Magnamar.
1 to 5 unities.
1 to 5 unities, 1 to 5.
Angels?
1 to 5
Angels,
angels.
angels,
Ooh, I
yeah.
like that. 1 to 5 angels.
They feel like a 4.
I'd say a 4 or 5. Like, it seems like a good place to be.
I like my only reservation is you kind of described the whole area still as very like Wild West.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm afraid I'd like get caught in a saloon fight, like a bar fight accidentally.
Yeah.
I think I would be okay with that. That sounds kind of fun. So
Okay.
I'm a 4.5, I
It's
think.
4.5?
I'd go
Magmar.
4. Yeah, so maybe just round down to 4 with the slight danger. Unless you're into that, then it'd be a 5. But yeah, I think a 4.
It's a good photo op. Getting caught in a bar fight could be a good photo op.
Yeah, that's true.
And trying to get a picture with an angel. I don't know.
Good Instagram feed. Cool.
Okay. And then Riddleport. This feels the most polarizing because there are some people that would be totally into this.
I'm like, yeah, this is either a 4 or a 2. What you're feeling.
Is it 1 to 5 pirates? 1 to 5 gendarmes?
1 to 5 gendarmes for sure. I love the name gendarme. Yeah, I mean, I would not want to go here. A place without any kind of working sewage and like pirate law sounds like not super fun to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a 2 for me.
Yeah, I think
I would want to go and see the Cipher Gate and take some pictures.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, and now I'm going to take my tour of monuments elsewhere.
it'd be like a float by. Like,
yes, I was going to say, this feels like a thing on a cruise where it's like, oh, I'm going to get off the boat for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a good excursion. Like, it's a good pit stop.
Yeah. Okay,
Cool.
so we said 2 or 3?
If it's a pit stop, like on a cruise, I'd say 3.
Yeah.
If you're on a guided excursion with the cruise.
Okay.
Cruise line.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so we have a 3, 4, and a 3.
3, 4, and a 3. Not a bad start.
That's not a bad start.
Overall for Varisia, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
On the Saga Lands in general, I feel like we haven't had any non-starters.
Yeah. No, it's
None
good.
that we want to avoid horribly.
Yeah.
No places I'm like, I would die.
Yet.
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam, for that wonderful introduction to the Saga Lands in Varisia.
Woo, Saga Lands.
Saga Lands.
If you are enjoying the podcast, as always, feel free to reach out, tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. You can check our website at tabletoptravelguide.com. Sam runs the Instagram.
I've been bad at it. I'll be better.
It's okay. I just don't do social media, so
It's fair.
it's fine.
I feel like we might kind of convert our Instagram into more just Pathfinder things we're doing. Maybe campaigns, maybe some ads, maybe whatever. If you want the pictures and specific on the episode, we are much better at keeping our website up.
Yes.
But our Instagram's going to be more just general Pathfinder stuff.
Stream of conscience.
Yeah.
Just as God intended Instagram.
Just as God intended Instagram.
So with all that, I think we end it there, guys.
Yeah.
Happy travels.
Bon voyage.